Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first visual edition of the Nickscast, coming to you live from Anime North in Toronto on Friday, May 22nd.
At 12:26 a.m.
23rd it is.
23rd.
Yes.
So I mean, this is our first chance to have a chat with you guys face to face.
Face to face.
Oh man. Whatever. Since we're at Anime North, we actually all got together. We wanted to do something special. So we're going to talk about some of the things we've seen, how things have been going, and we're going to try to do this again tomorrow and then again on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, how was your first day at Anime North?
Well, I feel like before we even get into that, we need to introduce ourselves.
No, that's not necessary. This guy likes swords.
I'm the sword guy, really grumpy.
No, okay, you're right.
None of you guys are great.
You-
I'm great. Swords are great. You guys are terrible. Grumpy sword guy.
That's Z.
That's
That's Z,
it.
everybody.
You probably
And the
figured
sword
that out
guy.
by now.
Grumpiness.
I'm G.
The pretty one.
Sure. I'll take it.
I'm T.
And-
The other one.
And we needed a fourth person
We
for our
need to
Sentai
introduce
team.
our guest friend.
Guest friend.
guest friend.
Guest friend. The goat.
We're going to stick with the goat for now, yes.
Yeah. So, the goat is a friend of ours. Does a Twitch stream. Twitch TV/The Goat Horror. We'll post it in the.
Yeah,
we'll
the goat VVH0R3 would be the PG way to put it.
We'll post the link in the notes of this video, so you don't have to try and spell it.
We're new to
Yeah.
this. This is a new thing. I am a new tie wearing.
Hey T, since you're the editor. Hey T. put goat VVHOH0R3 over the screen right now.
I'm not gonna edit it.
Right there.
Guys expect way too much for this. Okay, yes, we've had a chance to introduce ourselves.
we believe in you, that's all.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're totally wrong, guys. Don't trust them.
Apologize for the inconvenience. Anyway, but we experienced the first evening
Yes.
of Anime North, which is the Friday, and we saw some stuff.
Boy, howdy.
Some we will never come back from.
That's true. Z probably experienced the most out of all of us.
I guess so. I mean, I went to a half panel and then a workshop and then another panel and that wrestling panel that we all met up at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Friday's always kind of a little slow because it's just a matter of like. I mean, in terms of fans, we're kind of weird. There's usually things like there's a skit competition here at Anime North, and we don't actually go to that or the Masquerade.
No.
So we usually end up going to a lot of panels, a lot of workshops and stuff like that. What was the half panel that you went to?
The half panel that I went to was that 4 p.m. panel that I was really, really psyched for. Fetishism and otakuism. I mean, from the description, I thought, okay, it's probably going to talk about how, panty fetishes in anime come from Japanese culture and how that figures into everything, and what it means that North American otaku culture has adapted that kind of behavior, I suppose you might say. But it was totally different. Maybe because there were only 2 panelists out of the usual 4, but instead of being about, kind of like the anthropological side of fetishes and stuff like that, it was more like, here are these crazy fetish things you can find in the dealer's room, like scat play, and you can find the Japanese bondage rope in the dealer's room if you know where to look at the right time and everything. And it was just kind of...
So
Did you bail on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's why it was a half panel?
That's why it was a half panel.
Okay. So it's kind of like, be aware of all of these things,
Yes.
as opposed to an examination of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a little disappointing.
That
I can see
sounds
why.
like it could have been
Yeah.
really interesting, but
Yeah. But because myself and Soph left early from that panel, we wound up just going across the aisle to this workshop on sewable electronics.
Oh, you guys got in?
Yeah,
Nice.
It was weird because usually in the past workshops, as far as I know, at Anime North, have always been something you have to pay for ahead of time. So that's how they limit the number of people who get in. But this time around, for whatever reason, it was just the first 20 people get in, and we were like number 17 and 18. So
Are you
Just waltz
serious?
right in.
It
Yeah.
looked like it was going to be really busy. I wanted to go to it.
I say half panel. We were in that fetishism panel for maybe like 20 minutes. So by the time we left it and went over there were already maybe 14 or so people lined up for that workshop, and then we just sat around for 40 minutes
Oh wow.
and got in that way.
Okay.
So I guess
Yeah.
if you put in the time, you can attend these things.
Yeah, that's generally how it goes.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the goat and I didn't get up to too much. We can talk about your panels.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other ones that you went to. The goat and I went to a panel that I think that we were both really interested in. The goat has been working some odd hours, so kind of fell asleep in the middle of the panel. But we had some really great panelists. So the panel that we went to was on thermoplastic, and you're like, okay, that sounds kind of a little bit weird. But it was like a cosplaying panel on thermoplastics, and it's like, you often want to make, like, I don't do a lot of cosplay. I barely do any, and I haven't done any in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I always want to make armor. I'm always like,
Yeah.
armor, shields,
Yeah.
swords. This guy knows what I'm talking about. So they were talking about how to actually make stuff out of all these different thermoplastics. Thermoplastics are materials that are heat activated. So
Heat and shape.
heat and shape, yeah.
Keep
So I
us
mean, before I went to this panel, I was like, if I want to make anything out of plastic, any sort of plastic, I need to learn how to do vacuum forming, or I need to make a silicone mold, then a negative mold, and a positive mold, and inject the plastic, and just a huge mess. And don't forget a respirator, because if you do, then you could get cancer, and it's just like nuts.
Wow.
But this.
And of course, we did the panel last year where they discussed that.
Oh, and there'll be another panel where they'll
Yeah.
talk about that again with like resin and fiberglass.
And even when it's explained, though,
Yeah.
it still seems quite intimidating, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot to get into. Whereas this really made, like, it was a very relieving feeling to sit down and see something that was just so, that's it. Like, as they explained it, you could do it in 30, 40 minutes and have a simple piece of armor knocked out. And with a bit of practice,
Well, because there are people that'll make this stuff out of PVA foam, and it's the stuff you find on like shop floors sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks awful, and it's not great to work with. But this thermoplastic stuff was really straightforward. It's like, get a heat gun, take your thing, make a shape, use some foam as like a backing or cardboard or whatever, heat it up. You can sculpt it, you can shape it, do whatever. And then they talked about the different kinds, because some of them are more rigid. They showed us some materials that were made of fabric, so you could actually sew it into something. You know how like a lot of costumes have like a stiff collar?
Yeah.
So I haven't made a costume in a long time, but the one that I did, you had to put interfacing in it to do that. But the problem is like it gets ruffled and bent and all this other stuff. But there's this one thermoplastic that you can just you just take like a piece of it and then you fold it up, and then you iron it. You iron like the collar part, and then it gets crazy stiff.
Wow.
And you can still, I believe they said you could still sew through it as well.
You can
even
sew
after it's formed.
Oh yeah, and you can. And that's the nice thing, you can sew through it.
That's
It was a really good panel, and it actually, like, I think both of us, the goat was really encouraged to start doing some cosplay for next year,
Nice.
and I'm
So
with him. We just need to actually.
So you'll be making my next year.
I mean that's like the thing, right?
Is that how you heat the plastic though? You just iron it and then go to town?
Oh, so
or?
there were all different kinds. A lot of them were you use a heat gun.
Okay.
Like what was it?
For paint stripping.
Paint stripping.
I actually have one from an attempt that I'd made previously and went extremely poorly.
So they specifically made a point of saying hair dryer is too little. A car paint dryer.
Yeah, too much.
Too much.
Too hot.
Yeah. So you gotta find that nice middle ground, but
Yeah.
if you know what you're looking for.
So that was a really good panel. I'll probably go to some more cosplay related stuff over the weekend.
I'll be interested to get into that. I mean, there's a few people we could talk to if we're looking for resources. I think I've said that before. But.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna cut that part.
Does it matter if the screen's going a little dark?
Yeah, well,
Things.
since I've already made a mistake.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's,
Okay, let's try it again.
It's fine.
So the goat the goat follows a lot of people on Twitch that do a bunch of cosplay stuff. So I'm definitely going to check that out, but probably won't have time this weekend.
No, not this weekend. Yeah, but if we get around to looking at some of this actual playing with some of these materials and doing something, we definitely have resources to touch on. So.
True. What about you, G?
Well, I was a late addition to the party, both in my attending Anime North at all and getting here late today. I had a bit of a commute, so I arrived late. For that reason, I didn't look at today's schedule because I wasn't sure what I was going to miss. So I ended up getting here famished, ate something, but we did manage to check out. I briefly ran through the dealer's room just to kind of get a lay of the situation. It's a lot bigger from what I remember it. I have not attended Anime North in a few years, so it's expanded. I don't remember there being an attendance cap last time I was here.
Are the aisles really wide? Just curiosity.
They're a lot wider, yeah. But it's like the whole space, right? It used to be a couple of the halls, and now it's the entire space.
Well, I can't remember. It's like last year or 2 years ago, it was the back half, and then they expanded it to like the full half, and then they expanded it to a whole wing, and then this year it's like it's an entirely different wing, and the Artist Alley is now almost its own entire wing.
It has been interesting watching it grow.
For example, T and the Goat were showing me around there, and I'm like, this is the dealer's room, right? And they're like, no, this is Artist Alley. I was like, what? It's enormous. And then they just steer me towards the dealer's room. And we also got a chance to check out Nami no Ichi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the Anime North flea market.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting stuff there. I'm not as into anime as I used to be, and that's why I haven't been in a few years. So, like, there's a lot of anime-related stuff, but there's a lot of, like, neat sort of weird, esoteric stuff, like those Daft Punk minifigs.
Yeah, the oversized
Lego
like
Daft Punk.
Oh, wow.
Going for, I think, $500? $300.
But it's a flea market, so you'll find stuff that people have, and I mean, most of the stuff people have is, I have this old manga that I don't read anymore.
Yeah.
I have these old DVDs that I don't watch anymore. And it's like, cool, we'll get rid of that. But you show up there because you might find something interesting. One of the things I saw, there was a person there that had like kimonos and traditional Japanese sandals.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, or like it was material for kimonos or whatever. It looked really impressive, but like not something that I was interested in.
I found the first 5 volumes of Fairy Tail for $35.
That's a good deal.
Not a bad deal.
No.
But the sad part is it's only one night. Like the dealer's room's there the entire time.
That's what I find interesting about it, because it's like a flash flea market.
Yeah.
You know, one night only. So I guess that kind of increases the pressure on everybody to sell, so it doesn't like sort of drag over the 3 days, unlike the dealer's room. But like people don't know what people are going to be interested in, so they just bring all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, you know what you're going to find.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you guys had any other thoughts, but I was thinking, just to touch on, like, for me personally, coming to Anime North, one of the most exciting things I get into is every year I look forward to the cosplays.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting to see not only what the trend is of the year, of course, because there's always one year where you turn up and there's a whole whack load of whatever. I remember being Inuyashas all over the damn place in high school. If anybody remembers that year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But also just seeing just how effective some of these people are at assembling these things.
Mm-hmm.
And invariably, I always develop a favorite of the day, so to speak. Have you guys had much chance to look around and identify your favorites?
I mean, in past years, I've seen some really impressive cosplay, like with people having these like massive dragon costumes that like they need a handler to get them across the street because it is not safe for them to go across the street. Like you remember that, right? Like the big styrofoam.
Oh yeah, and even last year we had the Daleks in, which was there's a whole band of them, and I forget what their names are now. They announce where they're going every event, but they were all these gigantic motorized Daleks with people sitting inside them. It was
it's dedication to make yourself unable to like cross the street legally in order for your art.
I think we won't see the big ones till tomorrow.
Not till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like
That's when the big guns come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for Friday night, like, did you happen to see like I said, your MVP for the day?
Well, I feel like in terms of noticing trends, I feel like I still see like every other person is Naruto.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of ninjas.
Yeah.
There's a lot less than there
Yeah.
have been, but
Yes.
it's still a surprising
There's
amount of
still
Naruto
a lot.
characters.
I
Yeah.
only got myself here by the grace of seeing someone in one of those like Naruto design coats get on the bus, and kind of waited to see which stop they would get off at, so I could get off at the correct one. So
This guy's knows what he's about.
So yeah, it does help me out in that. I think my favorite was when T launched into a Rick impression
my
from Rick and Morty,
goodness.
and then literally right behind him was the Rick cosplay.
Yeah. So earlier in the day, the goat was saying it's like, there always has to be at least one story that you have for Anime North or for anything that you go to, and so I was mentioning to G that at the end of July the next season of Rick and Morty is going to be on TV and you should watch it because you keep hyping it up, but you haven't seen any more than the first like 3 episodes.
6. We know
fine.
T.
6.
But I think we'll probably do it on a future episode. So
Yeah,
that is motivation enough for me to catch up.
Anyway, so I'm like putting on the Rick voice, and it's like, you see, G, the thing you gotta do is you need to watch the next episode of you need to watch more Rick and Morty. And so as I'm saying that, was it you the goat?
I think it was me. Yeah.
You're like over that way. And there's this guy. There's this Rick, and I'm like, holy crap. And it's like, can I take your picture? He's like, I don't know, can you?
He did it so
His
well.
dedication was perfect, and then he whipped out a flask.
Yeah. I'm like taking the picture, and then like in the middle of the picture, he's like,
And he was like, "Thanks for the picture." He's like, "Yeah." It was great.
Are you sure he was a cosplayer and not just like
an alcohol?
Just a,
Like, he can
Why
be,
not
he can be both. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because a lot of cosplay, like cosplay itself, is people kind of taking on the role of the character. But I mean, a lot of the times
Good
what you just
cosplay.
see is good cosplay. But a lot of time what you just see is people costuming, and I'm not faulting that because these people put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yes.
But it's really awesome when they put in the extra mile and really get in character. Because this guy wasn't in character; he was the character. It's not like someone behaving as Rick behaved. It's like I am Rick.
Man.
It was great.
I also saw a Chrono looking mad talking on his phone, and
Oh.
it kind of shattered my
We
disbelief.
we saw a guy from Hotline Miami. He had a chicken head
That's
mask
right.
on, and he had a duffel bag, which I assume was
in the full suit, duffel bag, and chicken mask on, and he was sitting there on the phone
Yeah.
too. And there was something. I think it was you said it, didn't you? There was something almost suspicious or ominous about the fact that he's sitting here on the phone. It's like something's about to go down.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, to actually get back to answering your question, I can't think of a particular costume that really stuck out to me as being really good. That was a really good cosplay with Rick. But I mean, there have been a lot of really impressive costumes. I don't play League of Legends, but there have definitely been a few people. There's one character, they have like big robot hands. We saw that
The
one
pressure
person.
gauges. She used the real pressure gauges, industrial gauges on her back and on the backs of the claws, and it was really well done up.
Nice.
She'd clearly gone the whole 9 yards to find those materials.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean that is what I would say would be the most impressive cosplay I've seen in the evening. Did see a couple unusual cosplays. We saw Darkwing Duck.
Dark
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I saw
As well.
the pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I saw a female Deadpool who I'm pretty sure was a man.
Really? Because there is a Deadpool. There is a Deadpool issue where there's
A family.
they come from all different dimensions. There's like a
there's
midget one.
like Panda Pool.
Yeah, there's all these different pools. Yeah, and so yeah, like there's it's like it's not like I was walking around and like, oh, there's a gender bent this and a gender bent that, and that's not actually gender bent. That's
That was
technically
from
a real
the comic,
character, you know. And no, I didn't realize that was a man though, unless I saw a completely different one.
Well, I mean, they're wearing a mask
Yeah.
and an
Was
entire.
their
bodysuit.
costume made out of chainmail?
No.
Okay.
Or chainmail?
Yeah, I saw a Deadpool who had a Deadpool costume made it entirely out of chainmail.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
That's there's a few
Yeah.
Deadpools walking around because I swear I saw one that was supposed to be, it was like Deadpool in the guise of and you'll have to help me out with this one, Kingdom Hearts.
Sora?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Zora.
think we saw that when we were driving in.
Okay. I think I saw it leaving the TCC there. We were on foot there.
Yeah.
But
Don't worry about the screen. We're new at this.
Yeah.
I'm
Not experts.
Save that for the end. Save that for the end.
I have to an honorable mention to staying on trends, because it's always interesting to see which new trends come out. I've already, and I think I mentioned to you guys, I'd seen a new the new Daredevil, all in black.
Oh, and with the black, just like with the kind of
Yeah, not difficult to pull off, very simple,
No.
but refreshing in that it's new, and at the same time still unique. It's not like everybody's jumped on that bandwagon or anything, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I sort of we'll talk more about this in a couple of weeks on our Daredevil episode. But I don't know. I almost grew to like that costume by the end of the series while I was waiting for him to put on the red suit with orange and everything.
I will,
Yeah.
without getting you guys started on your material early, I will say by the time I saw the Daredevil outfit, I was disappointed that they changed.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
It's
That-
own
that'd be- yeah.
thing. But what are you guys looking
curious.
forward to seeing tomorrow? So, like, Anime North runs Friday to Sunday.
Not to derail you there, T. Sorry.
Want to talk more about your panels?
No.
No.
I just wanted to mention one trend that I saw
Okay, go
cosplay
ahead.
wise. I saw a lot of links.
Oh yeah.
That's
There-
pretty.
Yeah.
There are a few links kicking around. There's I've seen a few Zeldas as well.
I haven't seen too many Zeldas actually.
There's a link right here.
Oh!
A link you shall never have. Oh, it's all mine. All mine.
Another trend. I have seen a lot of Dragon Ball Z characters, and you're
Yes, I don't know where that came from.
Few. Yeah.
One can only guess that Team 4-Star.
maybe.
Is it
Or,
that?
Well,
or Xenoverse.
Yeah.
It could have been Xenoverse.
That-
Because we've seen, I think amidst all of this, I saw a Videl, a Hercule.
I didn't see those two.
Android 17 and 18.
Android 17
Seen a
and
few
18.
of those.
Several Trunks,
Mhm.
several Gokus, several Vegetas.
Okay.
Haven't seen the Great Saiyaman yet.
No, the battle damage Goku was a good one. It was
That
actually
a good
impressive.
one. They were the ones
Oh.
that did the fusion for
Yeah,
us,
they
right?
stopped and it was like, without even asking. You know,
Dude.
TT's just like, can I get a photo? They're like, sure, and then just
Oh.
yeah, well, they're just like boom, right into fusion.
I think it was
Awesome.
almost like, can I take a picture? It's like, sure. And the one guy's like, fusion. The other guy's like, fusion.
Oh, honorable mention to like the neon like glow stick Umbreon
Oh yeah,
person
that
that we saw
guy.
that had like
Like
the black
battle
suit on, but
armor.
with
yeah,
like
yeah.
the neon
Umbreon
rings.
Mecha guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a robot, yeah.
I didn't pick up on it being Umbreon. I was just like, hey guys, look at that. That
Well,
looks really cool.
it was dark outside.
Yeah,
So-
I wouldn't have known anyway. I'm not
Oh,
really I'm not really a new age Pokemon guy.
Umbreon was in gold and silver.
I'm really not a new age
Right.
Pokemon guy. I'm all like 100, the original 151, 152.
Oh, let's not get into
Ranking
that
bar.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
We'll save that for Pokemon Part 2.
Yep.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Coming down the tubes.
Now,
All right.
before we came back to cosplay, you were making a point.
Yeah, you were
Oh,
asking
I
me a
was-
question.
I was-
Opening the floor, as they say.
Hmm.
The floor looks quite solid. We should be okay with that.
Don't touch it. It's lava.
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm going to be not with you very much longer. My feet are dissolving into the lava floor. No, I was providing a bit of background so that when I ask the question, it'll make a little bit more sense. I was asking, what are you guys looking forward to tomorrow? And then I was making a point that Anime North runs from Friday to Sunday. Friday is kind of like a half day. Sunday is also kind of like a half day.
3/4.
3/4 of a day.
Saturday's
Yeah.
the big day.
Yeah, Saturday's the big day. Often people just come by for the Saturday if they can't make it for the whole weekend. And honestly, that's when most of the cool stuff happens.
Mhm.
So in particular, what are you guys looking forward to tomorrow?
Well, I've already brought up the subject of cosplays. So, obviously, kind of running back to what I was saying before, I'm always excited to see the big players who come out. What
They'll
we're going to
probably
see
just come
tomorrow.
out for Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday's the big day. There's so many one-dayers who come out, and if anybody's really gonna bust out the big guns, as I think G put it, that's the day for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the habit of looking ahead at schedules and planning out my thing. I just kind of see what sounds interesting, wander around a few viewing rooms. I might follow you guys from panel to panel, depending on what sounds interesting. But really, for me, it's a big atmosphere thing, and the cosplay is a big part of that. So
Are you gonna check out any photo shoots?
I have never made it to a photo shoot. I've never made it to a photo shoot. I'd be interested to check out some of these cafes and dances and things and see how those go. It's been years since I've been to a dance, and I've never been to a cafe. And a new dining experience is always nice. So maybe something like that. But no immediate plans set in stone, as it were. Just absorbing the atmosphere and the flair that is Anime North. You know.
Yeah.
What about you, Z?
Well, tomorrow actually there's a whole there's a bevy of writing related panels.
Yes.
In one room, actually, I'll probably be in one. I will probably be in one room for 3 hours tomorrow.
The Ottawa room.
The Ottawa room.
That's our penman.
If you're looking for Z, you will
He's in
find
the
him
Ottawa room.
Ottawa room from the
Yes.
hours of 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Come there for his autograph.
Yep.
He will sign the penman on your
Whatever.
Whatever you want me to sign
Sharpies,
it
we can-
on.
Yeah, shirt, breasts, testicles, whatever. Yeah, you have to edit that one out.
Edit
We'll
it
see.
back in.
We'll see. Yeah,
Yeah, and then not even in that room, but there are also other writing panels elsewhere. In fact, I just found one looking over the schedule before this recording, a little inside baseball, about freelance writing. So that's kind of exciting.
That's the one that has like the title has an actual person's name in it, right?
Possibly it's like
Like so presents freelance writing
Yeah,
or
something
something
like
like
that.
that.
It shows up that way in the guidebook, I think.
possibly.
Okay.
I have an idea of what the panels are, but I don't know their titles off the top of my head.
Fair enough. Goat?
He already went over.
Oh,
his
that's right,
stuff.
cosplay.
Yeah.
Cosplay.
Sorry.
I'm out
Gee.
of beer. Don't expect me to keep talking. That fuel's gone, man.
All right, well, there's a few things that I, have to decide, see if I want to wake up for.
Yeah, that's the other thing on Saturdays.
They start at 9,
Yeah.
Bastards.
The religion and spirituality in anime I'm considering checking out. Well, I'm not, I haven't watched a lot of anime in recent years. I'm still very interested in the discussion of topics within the genre because it, always folds over to other media and stuff like that. And I like because Christianity and like Judaism and stuff features a lot in like Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Shintoism features in like tons and tons and tons of anime, which I'm always interested in learning more about. The Game of Thrones panel,
It was pretty good last year, but I mean, it was a lot of like, here's this crazy thing that's happening. What do you guys think about that?
panels that are just general topic of
Also
okay.
fan theory stuff too.
Panels that are just a general, like just talking about this property or something like that, I usually don't enjoy as much as themed ones because it seems just like, what about this? Like people just like, how do you like this character? Or what do you think is gonna happen? And that was interesting to me is like kind of I'm looking at it from a particular angle. So
Yeah, it's too bad you missed.
we'll see about that one.
It's too bad you missed why anime.
That sounds like something I would have been.
Because like, I could boil that thing. I could boil that thing down to one sentiment: the idea that the reason why so many shows and like movies and all that stuff now are like Game of Thrones or like Daredevil, where things are not black and white, but they're more, more gray and more, good people can become evil, evil people can become good.
Anyone can die.
Yeah, the idea that came up at the end of that panel was that is now happening in stuff that's generally like Western media because it started in anime.
Oh.
And that's what the people who like got interested in anime 20 years ago or 10 years ago even are now hungry for. So all that stuff that was, happening, say in the 90s with A Song of Ice and Fire that had that going on with it, that gray morality is now super popular.
Cool.
So thanks anime.
And there's a bunch of discussions about just fandom in general, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
Both inside and out, anthropologically and sociologically.
Yeah.
Trans homophobia in fandom, talk about disability in fandom, which I'm curious to see kind of the angle that one takes.
Yeah.
Whether it's about people responding to how it's portrayed or just in like how disabled people like consume their fandom compared to other people. trans and homophobia again. Is it like people being homophobic on like message boards, or how people react to stuff like stuff that covers what happens in fandom is across kind of everything, so that always has my interest. Other than that, I'll probably have lunch too. T, what about you?
I mean, I usually end up going to kind of professional kind of panels because I'm apparently that kind of nerd. That's who I am. So
okay.
there's a bunch of panels on creativity, and there's someone writing that'll probably join Z in checking out. But yeah, I usually, or even things on props and armor making because I like making stuff. So I'll probably go to a lot of those kinds of things. Just try to take a look to see if there's anything else. Hey, there's another one on thermoplastic. That's kind of cool.
Really?
Is it 201?
How much more? Well, to be
Or
fair, they
102?
did say they could fill 2 hours with that.
Yeah, but I think that one's different people. So I mean, I'm probably going to go to a bunch of stuff about making things and about, proceeding professionally. A good friend of ours usually does a whole bunch of panels on Fanda Pro and things like that, but they haven't been able to make it for a few years, which is too bad. And as such, I actually notice even less of that kind of stuff in this one. I haven't seen very much about voice acting or voice acting marketing or any of that
It
stuff.
seems like the emphasis is more on writing and animating this year.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe I just haven't looked well enough, but...
I've looked at the schedule a few times, and I haven't seen anything about voice acting.
I honestly haven't had a good chance to look at the schedule yet. So, but I feel
I
like
thought that was the way that you liked it.
Well, you have been hogging it the whole time, so no, I'm probably. I feel like
this.
with me. I told you, it's not going to happen very easily here. Not with me.
Well tried.
We'll try.
I try to contain myself for extended periods of time.
Replace that word with puppies.
Yes,
Whatever
yes.
you swear,
I don't
just
know how
replace
I'm
it with
gonna do
puppies.
We're just going to
Anyway.
edit in random clips just to make it PG.
Okay.
Okay.
That was the edit point.
Well, I can't remember where I started before the edit point, but I don't know. I guess what I was saying was
It's very difficult.
Your schedules.
yes, I haven't had a good chance to actually look at the schedule. So I mean, obviously, you guys know exactly what's coming up, or rather, you have a better idea than I do. I think I said before I'm going to be following you guys around. Gee, I have a feeling I'm going to follow you into one of yours because it sounds like you were saying the religions, or what is it?
The spirituality and
Spirituality,
religion in
thank
anime.
you.
Yeah.
That sounds fascinating.
And it's at noon.
Perfect time.
Every
time.
Noon. Such a
You
tricky
gonna make
hour.
it? You make
Such
it?
a tricky hour. I'll be awake by then. I don't know if I'll be sober, but we'll see.
You can use your little Nickscast spinner, and before each panel, just do a spin and see which one of us you want to follow.
Oh, that could be awesome.
Yeah.
You guys can summarize your own experiences, and I'll summarize what it's like to watch each of you experiencing your experience.
Z, not enough swords. T is taking notes, and G is actually enjoying the panels. Oh man. You don't need to commit to this bit, Z.
Look for Goats, the Nickscast cast. Coming soon, starting in June, I think.
Actually, well, you had brought up the Game of Thrones one, and I'm split on that one because I am interested in that. I don't really care what they have to say about it so much as I'm convinced that, and I think we discussed this earlier, some of us, I'm convinced that it's going to be based largely around the differences this season between the book and the show. Particularly, and our mutual friend Holly there brought this up, that people are so pissed off about spoilers. Spoilers, anyone? Are we concerned?
Well, I mean, someone's gonna say something about Game of Thrones. I have no idea what it is, but you've been warned. So,
spoiler. That is end of spoiler alert. All right. Particularly, people are pissed off about Sansa being raped, quite viciously on her wedding night.
That's reasonable.
And it not only that it was portrayed in a relatively graphic way compared to the way rape has been implied both in the books and in the series up till now. But just in that it was never supposed to happen to her. And that represents a huge character change. And I think that the point being that the people are going to be getting super upset about that, and I really kind of want to sit back and listen to that shit show.
Maybe you should drop in and see how it goes then.
It sounds interesting. It sounds interesting.
For those exact same reasons, I really don't want to see that.
You know what? It's like a good episode of Jerry Springer.
Which one would that be?
Anyone. It's a train
I think
wreck.
there's a line in the sand, and G is firmly on one side, and F is firmly on the other side. I'm trying really hard.
I know. Well, one last thing I want to talk about here is that we all went to one panel at the end of the day.
Oh, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our schedules converged to see something that I like. Because we attended the introduction to Japanese pro wrestling panel at 11 o'clock. And it was in a format of a panel that I've never seen before, which was one guy doing a presentation. And he obviously knew his stuff. And it was literally like an introduction. It was like Japanese Wrestling 101. Like, here are the major players. Here are the different promotions. Here are the belts and the tournaments, which got a lot of focus. But he also showed some cool clips. And it was a little bit dry. I think he was excited.
That poor
Go to
remembering
one such clip now.
That poor 9-year-old.
Oh, go.
I felt that he approached it in that the facts themselves, like, kind of excited him about wrestling because they reminded him of all the cool stuff. Like, when he would recount the titles and tournaments of, like, every Japanese wrestling promotion. I felt, knowing that stuff, also I felt it was a little dry, but what did you guys think of it?
I thought that was... So, they did talked a little bit of history, talked about all these titles and tournaments and all this other stuff. Really not that interesting. They talked a little bit about the difference between East and West, which was a little bit interesting, and then they showed us a bunch of crazy stuff. Honestly, the stuff that was great was the crazy stuff. When you hear about, like, Japanese wrestling, you think of, like, Japanese TV shows, and a lot of them tend to be a little bit more zany. And that's kind of what I expected. But I've seen some Japanese wrestling before, so I wasn't expecting it to be goofy. But I did get what I wanted. It was apparently, like, the TDD or something. And
DDT.
Oh, DT.
DDT.
Like the move.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Or
The DDT. And it's apparently this wrestling league where anything can happen in a 20... Like, you can be challenged in any day, at any time...
By anything.
By anything. In one day, the title was usurped like 60 times in one day.
Yeah.
And it was just really goofy. It's like, the title was awarded to a ladder. A dog took the title away from the ladder.
There was a monkey on that list.
There was a monkey on that
The
list.
title went to the title itself.
The title broke, and then it lost the title.
Surprising I was awake for that part.
It went to a pint of beer.
Before the beer was spilled, and it was given to someone else.
Maybe the table?
Oh, it could have been the table.
Or the
But yeah.
waitress who kicked it.
But yeah, when he focused on that kind of stuff, it was great.
That was great.
Canadian wrestler Kenny Omega shown both wrestling a 9-year-old girl and a blow-up doll.
Or
God
or
damn
the different gimmicks of some of the wrestlers. Like there was a picture of a Japanese wrestler, and it's like, see, and there's this guy with his fists like this, and he's wearing sock puppets over his middle fingers. And it's like, so this guy's gimmick is not wearing sock puppets
on his middle finger.
Yeah, and it's like, watch this clip. And it's like, oh, it's a WWE or something like that. And it's just like a bunch of women pole dancing. And it's just like, what does this have to do with wrestling? And then eventually...
And then a dude came out.
Yeah, with, like, dressed up like Michael Jackson. And they just, like, kind of flock to him. It's like, this is one of the ways that this Japanese wrestling league is different than the Western leagues. It's like, those parts were fun and interesting. Hearing about the various tag team title matches, except for the one. There was one...
Never, yeah.
Yeah.
With the English.
Yeah, I
Oh,
wish I
yeah.
remembered that. That was good. But, like, generally it was alright. But it was pretty dry.
It was informational, I guess.
Except for the part, the blow-up doll and the 9-year-old. That was fantastic.
I think you put it down. Yeah, you said it quite concisely that what we saw in terms of clips is probably, I got the feeling you were maybe saying it wasn't maybe representative of the entire thing, but that's what we wanted to see.
No, that's what
we wanted.
Yeah.
that's what people who are at an anime convention want to see in the panel, right? Like that's the stuff. You don't have to be like, this is me recruiting people to Japanese. Just show some cool stuff, some wacky stuff.
It's enough that they should almost have a viewing room for it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, they do have like live wrestling.
There will also be live wrestling, which I'll be checking out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that.
There's live every year, and is it all 3 days or just Friday, Saturday?
They do stuff on Sunday, but it's not for very long, I think.
The Super Extreme Anime Wrestling Show, or Wrestling Show.
It's like it's right in like it's either the Artist Alley or it's in the
It's right in the
showroom.
It's right in the hall with the.
Yeah.
with
You
the
can't
booths.
miss it. You're walking by and it's just like there's people kicking the shit out of each other. Good fun though, from what I've seen in the past. She drops head again because there's no fixing this editing.
You guys are making this very difficult.
We can always just be explicit on the YouTube.
Yeah, on the YouTube, it's fine.
I think we can. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't get the little tag.
Okay. I'm probably not going to be editing this very much. Hello, everyone.
So I think
Inside baseball.
that about covers this 10-minute video.
Just wanted to give you a quick little
Hey,
update on
the
how
ma-
things are going here.
The magic of editing, I'll never speak for this whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no explicit label, 10 minutes.
It'll just be Goat about to speak. So,
Yeah, it's like hard cut. Yep. Sorry, guys.
so I'm just saying, don't expect this length tomorrow. All right, this is a treat.
Hey, we'll talk as long as it naturally pleases me too.
Sure.
I think now more than ever, the end of episode thing actually makes sense. We're not experts, especially in this, so you don't have to.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're at Anime North, I hope you're having a good time. And if you see us, wave or point, laugh or whatever you want to do.
Or a mix, a combination.
We accept tribute in the form of glomps.
Oh wow.
The Goat accepts tribute in the form of glumps.
Fine, I'll take all his glomps.
That takes me back.
Yeah, as usual, you can check us out on all our various feeds, which we'll probably link to in the comments below instead of
The Nickscast everywhere.
yeah, everywhere pretty much. Google us on
Google us on YouTube.
IR
Google,
Speak Good.
Twitter.
IR Speak Good.
Google, YouTube, Twitter,
Facebook,
SoundCloud, iTunes, it's all there.
Stitcher,
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 yeah,
really.
Don't worry about it. Well,
Podkicker.
Yeah.
we're in a lot of
You'll find the
places now.
details below in the YouTube
And
description.
if you like what you
Yes.
see and what you've been hearing, you can also try to come out to and you're at Anime North, of course. You can try to come out to our panel on Sunday at 4 p.m. in International Plaza A. It's the Lazy Fans Guide to Getting Started. Or, again, just point and laugh, whatever.
Yeah.
Come sit with me in the rows. Watch them struggle.
Yes.
All right. Until tomorrow, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Ta-ra. I feel left out.